swinging a drive, right field and deep. Back goes Aquino. It's got a chance. Gone. Get out the tape measure. Long gone.
Fly the W!
Cubs fans, it's time to fly the W with Dustin Rhodes and Paul Crawly Jean.
This is the Fly the W podcast, part of the Blue Wire Network. Don't forget to listen, download, subscribe. Most importantly, Crawly, we want you to review our podcast. Follow on all the socials. I'm at Mully and Haw on X.
And you can follow me at Crawly's Cubs on X as well. You could also follow me, all over the place, all the socials that you're welcome to. But I'm on Facebook, YouTube. Thank you for everybody that's following in. TikTok, Instagram, all of it. But Dustin, boy, after that 9-game road trip, the Cubs return home to Wrigley to take on the Braves. We keep saying this, it's, winning series, which is really good, but it just doesn't feel like it's clicking.
Right. It doesn't seem like a team that is hovering at 20 games over 500 that has as we're recording and this podcast and doing this podcast live, a 5-game clear lead in the wild card race. They're 4 games better than the Padres in the wild card race. They're a 90+ percentile chance of being in the postseason. And it seems like a team that lives and dies by the home run, a team that, as well as the starting pitching does do, still has a propensity, if I'm using the word properly, to give up the long ball, and still a questionable-ish end of the bullpen. Daniel Palencia is looking a little more like Heart Attack Hector lately than I would like, putting a little bit too many runners on base. He's been getting the job done most of the time. What is he, like 22 of 24, 22 of 25 in his chances? But Crawly, to your point, looks like a team that's just doesn't seem like a team that you can really trust in Craigtober.
The issue when I look at it, and this series was just a perfect example, is that it feels like a rerun of what we've seen with the offense, right? Like you're going to have your bullpens are going to go through a little thing here or there. Your starting pitchers are going to have your hiccups, and basically you hope that everybody picks each other up. But it's just the offense, the way that it disappears. And I guess I'm already starting to look towards Craigtober. I'm already looking that direction. And what scares me is that you don't have the luxury of the offense disappearing for 3 or 4 days at a time. That's it. Your season's over if all of a sudden your offense disappears. And you're not going to be facing Bryce Elders or right. Josh Elders right. in the postseason. You're not going to be facing those guys.
Yeah, great point. And typically, Crawly, to your point about offenses disappearing, that's when they do disappear, right? They do. If you're a team that comes into the postseason scoring 6-7 runs a game, now bring that down to 3 or 4, right? I mean, it's hard to score in the postseason.
Yeah, and what's frustrating more than anything, Dustin, is that we just did the 20th anniversary. I had this on my Facebook page and Twitter, Crawly's Clubhouse. It was the anniversary of the other day of Tony La Russa and Dusty Baker barking at each other from across the dugout. That was 2003, and if you remember that series, it was one of those things where they're barking at each other, and it was the Cardinals were in first place, Houston was in second place, and the Cubs were in third place, and they were all a game behind each other. Boom, boom, boom. And it was a 5-game series, and the Cubs took 4 out of 5 in that series, and it just propelled them. The Cardinals got knocked out of first place, and then they'd never kind of recovered. And that really kind of seemed to push the Cubs further. And after Monday night, I watched that win during Labor Day, and I said to myself, is this the one? Is this the game that turns it around and propels this team into Craigtober? And by the end of the series, I was like, no, same thing we've seen the last couple months.
All right, Crawly. So the Cubs got Meatloaf, right? Joe Madden used to say, "Hey, Meatloaf ain't bad. 2 out of 3 ain't bad." Let's recap how things went for the Cubs. Game number 1 was Colin Ray versus Spencer Strider. This takes us back. This is a wild game, Crawly. This takes us back to our Labor Day holiday.
Yeah, and for Ray, he took the ball. It wasn't his greatest outing, and we talked about Ozzie Albies. He was on the hot list, and the fact that he always hits the hell out of the Cubs. 2 on, 2 outs in the first. Ozzie Albies singles, puts the Braves up 1-0. Ray ended up in some more trouble in the third with 1 out. They load the bases. Ozzie Albies grounds into a force out. Michael Busch throws home, gets Matt Olson out in the place, and it looked like Ray may get out of it. But with 2 outs, Michael Harris singled, air quotes, to make it 3-0, 2-run score. It was a ball that was in between Tucker and PCA, and it looked like there was miscommunication. He would only pitch 1 more inning, done after the 4th. He gave up 3 runs on 5 hits, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. His pitch count was at 78. Now, Taylor Rogers was first out of the pen in the 5th. He got the first 2 outs and then gave up a single, 3 doubles, 3 more runs scored before he struck out Jake Fraley to end the inning. But the damage is done. The Braves
Damage is done. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a 6-1 game. But Dustin, this actually becomes the turning point of the game because newcomer Aaron Savali, who would have predicted this one, right? If you know Aaron Savali, he stunk for the Brewers. He came over to the White Sox in the trade that sent Andrew Vaughn over there, and he got, let go by the White Sox. And so the Cubs pick him up off the scrap heap, and he turns out to be one of the heroes of the game. He pitches 3 scoreless innings, gives up 1 hit, and he doesn't walk anybody. And he was the one that gives them a chance to come back in this game. Here's what Savali had to say.
You pitched a lot of big games in your career, but coming into a new club and contributing like you did to save that game in the middle, what was that like for you emotionally?
Yeah, it was great to get out there and compete, keep the game close and keep it close enough so that it can be within striking distance. That's always the goal of the pitcher, regardless of what your role is. Go out there and provide as much as you can. Keep it as close as you can.
Did you feel the energy of the ballpark too with you?
Yeah, for sure. I've pitched in this stadium as a visitor a few times prior. Being on the home side is definitely a little nicer. It was very, very loud. A lot of people out there into it. So it's good to be out there and compete for this team.
How did it feel running in from the bullpen?
Yeah, first time in the regular season for sure. Adrenaline's high when you come in out of the bullpen. So felt good to be out there and compete.
So
Crawly, I got to stop you. How in the world was he able to do this? This was the first time he was ever given a baseball out of the bullpen, and he went to the mound that he's familiar with. He took the ball in his hand, and he threw it over the plate, and he made batters hit the ball with light contact and miss their bats. How is that humanly possible? He's never done that before, Crawly. Well, is this the $50 million man? I mean, how is it possible? How were you a starter and then you actually did your job as a pitcher coming out of the bullpen?
Well, Craig had to like it. It was an out-getter, That's what he did is he got outs. And so, Dustin, what was bizarre about this game is it was like 2 separate games. In the first half of the game, the defense looked like crap. The offense looked like crap. The pitching looked like crap. Savali comes in, and it kind of turns things around. They were down 6-1 going into the 5th, right? Their only run came from an Ian Happ solo home run. But bottom of the 5th, Dansby Swanson walks, Matt Shaw doubles to score a run. The Cubs start their comeback. They're down 6-2. Bottom of the 6th, Ian Happ hits a leadoff single. Happ is tagged on a force out at second. Nico's at first. Carson Kelly lines out to get the second out. So up comes PCA, who's been lost. The guy's been lost at the plate. On an 0-2 pitch, he bunts it to third, and everybody's safe. Dustin is the first 2-strike bunt hit in the majors this season. That's crazy. I have no idea how he came up with it. He found a way.
Right. It worked, right? It worked. So that's all that matters. But I think you're almost being kind to say that he's lost at the plate. We're going to get into it a little bit more, but he needs a mental timeout. There's no doubt about that.
Well, the next batter, Dansby Swanson, hits a double to left. Nico scores easily. PCA goes from first to home in 9.62 seconds. Dustin, next time they have season ticket holder day, we need to go out there and just get a stopwatch and see how long it would take us. I mean, I would probably pull a hammy, I'm guessing, but 9.62 seconds from first to home plate. So now we got a ball game.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
The Cubs are trailing 6-4, bottom of the 8th. Former Cub Pierce Johnson, if anyone remembers him, he's on the mound. Ian Happ leads off with a single. Nico strikes out, and Carson Kelly, who is on the cold list, hits a 2-run homer. The game is tied. Wrigley is going nuts. With the game tied in ninth, Counsell hands the ball to Brad Keller. We talked about him last episode, how great he's been. He gets the first 2 batters out, walks the next 2 batters before striking out Michael Harris, bottom of the 9th. Matt Shaw hits a leadoff single, and in the bottom of the inning, Carlos Santana makes his Cubs debut, pinch hitting for Justin Turner. He strikes out. Tucker and Seiya flat. We're going to extras. Andrew Kittredge enters the game. Michael Harris is the Manford man. Nacho Alvarez bunts. Harris to third, 1 out. Kittredge gets Jake Fraley to strike out, which is huge, and then strikes out Marcell Ozuna to get the Cubs a chance here to walk it off. With Seiya Suzuki as the Manford man, Ian Happ strikes out and Nico grounds out. But on that Nico ground out, at least it moves Seiya to third. With 2 outs, Carson Kelly, who tied the game in the 8th, lines a single to left field. Seiya scores. The Cubs walk it off. The Cubs win, ties it for the biggest comeback of the season. And I mean, if just the fans there and everything, if you take a look here this season, they did it one other time, May 25th at the Reds. They came back from a 5-run deficit again with the Red Mets 4 and Diamondbacks 4, but that was the biggest. But Carson Kelly, I mean, that was his second career walk-off since May 26 in 2019. And so to me, that was just a long time coming. And so that was also the first Cub with a game-tying home run in the 8th inning or later and a walk-off hit in the same game since Corey Patterson, 2004. Boy, did I think that he was going to be a stud, Corey Patterson. You know, he blew out his knee. I always wonder.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, it was a great win because it would have felt so different had things gone differently because of the stinker on Sunday that we really haven't had to talk about, you know, the ending game against the Rockies. So if you take that stinker game, right? You take that stinker game and then you have that situation, boy, things would have felt a whole lot different.
Well, here's what Carson Kelly had to say after the game. And I don't know if anyone likes to watch the post-game interviews, and you can find them all over the place on the internet. Carson Kelly's like a goofy guy. He has like funny facial expressions, and just his reactions are hilarious. Here's what he had to say here.
Special moment. You know, as a player, you always dream for a moment like that. And to be able to come through for the guys is great, you know, and a lot of fun. Great game today.
But they had the game-winning hit too. Has to be really special.
Yeah, I mean, just getting an opportunity to get to that position, and you know, we kept fighting. It was you know, we went down early and then kept fighting little by little, and you know, just to be able to get put in that situation is special.
This will be forever known as the Carson Kelly game, you know.
Oh, really? We're already putting that on it?
You tie it, and then with a homer, and you win the game. So
it's pretty cool.
Bruce Levine. Bruce.
Love it. The Carson Kelly game. Yep, I love it.
We do that all the time, though. You know, I mean, there was never.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
There was never a game until the Sandberg game. May he rest in peace, you know. And now anytime anyone has a big game, it's the Carson Kelly game. So, I mean, that was absolutely fun. Just so exciting. And, you know, now you're pumped up because the Brewers also had a loss. They had a lead and they blew it to the Phillies. And now you're getting there. You're excited. And that takes us to game 2. Shota Imanaga versus lefty Joey Wentz. We know about the Cubs lefty issues. And so Counsell decided to put in Justin Turner and Kevin Alcantara, who was freshly called up for this series. We'll get to that in segment 2 about Kevin, but Wentz and Shota Imanaga both ran into trouble in the third, fourth inning with 1 out in the third. Kevin Alcantara playing his first big league game in 2025. He played in 24 one game or a couple games, but he gets a single followed by a single by Nico Horner, his second of the game. Kyle Tucker up. He doesn't hit a single. He hits a 3-run home run to left field, his first Oppo Taco of the season. Seiya followed that up with a walk. Carson Kelly struck out for the second out, but Justin Turner hits a pop-up that lands between the second baseman, right fielder, and center fielder. It's right in the middle. And then with a runner at first and third, the red-hot Ian Happ scalds one, 103.9. Off the bat, shortstop Ha-Sung Kim could only block the ball. Another run scores. Cubs are up 4-0. And Mr. Excitement, Kyle Tucker on his home run.
I feel good at the plate, and we've been playing pretty solid ball, and had another really good win tonight. But anytime you can contribute and put some runs up on the board is huge, and especially against a good team in a close game like that.
He may be worth $400 million on the field, but he's a
soundbite, all right. Yeah, he's a soundbite, all right. Yeah, is that a tease? Is that a tease, Crawly? Is that Ian Happ maybe on the hot list?
Maybe, right?
Maybe. Stay tuned for the hot list, folks.
As far as Kyle Tucker is concerned, you love to see that guy, hitting those balls. Unfortunately, the Braves answered back in the top of the fourth. Matt Olson leads off with a triple. Shota throws a wild pitch, and Olson scores. Cubs leads 4-1. The next batter, Ozzie Albies, hits a solo home run. Cubs lead cut in half. Shota gives up another home run in the fifth to Eli White. The Cubs lead was now a precarious 1-run lead. For Shota, he would go one more inning, 6 total. Give up 3 runs on 5 hits, 1 walk, and 2 Ks. Gave up 2 solo home runs. But they asked about his outing after the game, and I thought it was interesting, and this is why he's the pitching philosopher. I thought it was really interesting what he had to say through his interpreter.
Yeah, so after we scored 4, really want to get that shutdown inning, but I let 2 runs score. And so really it was a team effort right there with, they're getting close, but I think, we held them off. So I think it's a big shout out to everybody on this team. So talking to the pitching coaches, first 3 innings, body felt really good. Thinking that fourth is a longer inning, so it's like resting the back. I just need to figure out a different way to kind of get ready for that. So I think reflecting on it and just better adjustment there. Yes, I think today, just looking at today's outing, all my teammates, and they had my back. They covered for me. There are countless plays, amazing plays that they made. Even once, I was starting to give up hits. Kelly kind of changed up the pitch calling. So I think it was a big team win, and I think everybody had my back. So hopefully the next time I start, I can have theirs.
Well, he's had the Cubs back plenty of time, but a couple comments here. Number one, in that third inning when the Cubs scored the 4 runs, they made Wentz throw 40 pitches in the inning, Dustin. It was a long inning. And so he kind of recognized that, he almost kind of was like a little bit off kilter when he came back out from just sitting around. And so, next time you guys have Tommy Hotovy on the Mully and Haw show, it'd be an interesting question. As far as
I still don't understand why he's giving up as many home runs as he's giving up. That's trouble. That's troubling in the postseason. Right? And I know we'll probably talk about it later, but I just, this is something that, I know you and I think about, you and I talk about. You just mentioned the Mully and Haw show. We talk about it on that show. Who are you, Crawly? Who are you, our listeners? Who are you, Cub fans, thinking would take the ball in game 1 for the Cubs in a postseason? Now, a month ago, it might have been Shota Imanaga hands down. Today, I think it's a debate.
I think a month ago I would have gone with Matt Boyd, but right now, there's one guy that,
right. There's a debate, and it might not be a debate, right? It might be clear cut, and we're going to talk about that guy as we move forward. So that was a wrap of game number 2, right, Crawly? That's all the information we wanted.
Well, I just wanted to say that the bullpen did a great job. Pomerantz 1 hit, 1 K. Caleb Thielbar perfect 8th. Palencia, it was a little close, but it wasn't any hard contact.
Right.
But Dustin, what worried me about this game, and this is what I was talking about earlier, game 1, offense just erupts, looks great. Now, the Cubs had 4 runs on 7 hits, so they had less hits than the Braves, who had 3 runs on 8. Tucker's home run was the only extra base hit. The team was 2-4 with runners in scoring position, but they both came in the 3rd. And so the Cubs only had 1 more hit, a Kyle Tucker single in the 5th, from the 3rd inning on. And even worse after this game is that the as Tucker was out in the 7th inning, which we're going to get to later too. So not great, to be honest with you.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, Crawly, to game number 3. The Cubs having the opportunity to go for the sweep. And really, the guy we just talked about a little bit there, Cade Horton, the ace of this staff, perhaps. And you, Crawly, were at the game.
I did not want to miss a Cade Horton start, but with the lineup, you knew Kyle Tucker was out he came
let's
out.
Let's talk about this lineup. Let's talk about the lineup. I think that's something that's got to be discussed.
Right. And so you have a calf injury to Tucker, or he's out, just precautionary. PCA has been struggling, so he's out. So you got Horner leading off again, which I like. Bush batting second, Suzuki, Happ, Carlos Santana, DHing, Swanson, Castro, center field, Shaw, McGuire. I mean, I don't know. I'm not too upset or worried about it. You want to see what you got with Santana, kick the tires. He's the new toy. Give Kelly a day off.
Doesn't look so great. Santana doesn't look so great to me.
Again, it's one game, so we'll see. But
I mean, he did hit one to he did hit one to the warning track. No, it's not. But he in a pinch hit effort a couple games back, Crawly. He struck out, right? He struck out in his Cubs debut, correct?
Yep.
The first at bat as a Cub. Then he got one to the warning track, struck out in this game. So I guess, it's just, I know you got to put him out there, right? You got to see what you got. But it's like, you put him out there in that situation when you're sitting PCA, you don't have Kyle Tucker. It just seems like, it just seemed like a Sunday lineup almost. Like we got the series, like we won the series.
Right. But you want to give
that's
him
what it
back.
felt like. It's like, okay, then if that's the case, then I almost feel like they should have given Cade Horton another day off or 2 days off with the day off on the schedule and let him pitch game number 1 against the Nationals to help you ensure you win that series. If that's the goal now is just to win series, don't put out that horse crap lineup and then do that with your ace and hope that he can beat the team 1-0. And he's only allowed, by the way, to pitch 5 innings.
Well, I mean, I know Josh Elders has had a couple good starts lately, but he still has an ERA over 6. He should be able to do more than what you did.
Right. The offense, listen, the offense has to look in the mirror without a shadow of a doubt. Go ahead.
I mean, they did score 1 run in the second but again, it was a gift. Ian Happ singled, and Eli White, the left fielder, is throwing it back to first base, and he throws it in the camera well, and Happ is sitting on third with no out.
I mean, they should have been shut out. I mean, it was an absolute gift.
Yep,
you're totally right.
Carlos Santana grounds out. Swanson called out on strikes, which you can't do with 1 out and a runner on third. You cannot strike out with the bat on your shoulder. But luckily, Willie Castro had a clutch single, and so he scores to make it 1-0.
Again, why is I know he had the big hit, but it's like, okay, you sent Owen Casey down. You called Kevin Alcantara up. If PCA is going to hit, shouldn't Alcantara be the guy in center field?
I would have thought so.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just saying it's just bizarre. I mean, you could say, well, look, he delivered the RBI. He delivered a hit. That's what he delivered. The Braves gave them that RBI. They put the runner in a position with a single to drive in the run.
Well, Dustin, that run was the only run that they would score against, again, Elders, who now has a 5.54 ERA. It was above 6 when he walked into the park. But I mean, Dustin, they had 3 hits the Cubs had. They were all singles, right? And so you're taking a look here again. You had the Ian Happ single, right, in the second. And then you had the Willie Castro also in the second. So half your hits came in the second inning. And then another single in the third, and that was on a Reese McGuire bunt single. I mean, that's your offense. And you allowed Elders to go for 7 innings, 4 hits, one of them a bunt single, all singles, 1 run because of an error. It was just absolutely embarrassing for that offense out there.
Yeah, wasn't great. Oh, it was not great. No.
Now, what was not embarrassing was Cade Horton. I mean, he was literally just mowing these guys down. I mean, it was so impressive to see what the kid did. He goes 5 innings, doesn't give up a hit, 1 walk, 6 Ks. And yes, the crowd was buzzing a little bit when they took him out in the 6th. We wanted to see a no-hitter, but I think, Dustin, here's what Cade is going to say after the game about getting pulled.
Jokingly, I know at the end of the day it's not going to happen, and that's all right. I feel like I'd much rather be healthy for the postseason than go out there for the 6th or 7th in early September.
I mean,
it's a great comment. It's a great comment, and if you saw him say it, it's very believable.
Yeah, and again, we all knew, nobody was angry about it at the game. It was like, man, well, we get it, right? Is that you want that guy right now? He's your number 1 starter, Dustin. That's what it would look like. I don't know if they're going to do it just because he's a rookie, but I would say that right now, look at this stat that Marquis threw up there. Jake Arrieta, lowest ERA after All-Star break since 1933, minimum 9 starts. Jack Flaherty, 0.91 in 2019. Steven Strasburg, 2017, 0.86. Cade Horton, second on that list, 0.77. And then Jake Arrieta, 2015, 0.75. That 2015 run by Jake Arrieta, to me, was one of the most impressive runs I've ever seen personally. And, I don't think anybody had a problem with him being taken out of the game. But once he is taken out of the game, again, you only have 1 run, Dustin. There's no margin for error now, right? And the defense in all 3 games, or after the first half of the first game, there were so many good plays. Dansby Swanson, I saw at least 2 or 3 phenomenal plays. I never thought that Matt Shaw was going to be a potential Gold Glove third baseman. I'm not saying he is yet, but he is impressing the heck out of me at the hot corner.
Really good. Really, really good. And the fun thing, Crawly, is sometimes it looks like he and Dansby are almost having a contest. Okay, nice play, kid, right? And now let me show you. And it's almost back and forth. I feel like Shaw is almost upping Dansby Swanson's game. And Dansby Swanson plays a good shortstop, but I feel like both of them are kind of feeding off each other. It's really cool.
Yes, absolutely. It's just so fun to watch. And now Cade Horton's out. First out of the pen is Ben Brown. And so Ben Brown gets the first guy he faces to strike out. He then walks Nacho Alvarez on, 5 pitches. 4 of them weren't even close, or 3 of them weren't even close, not even anywhere near the strike zone. I mean, it was uncompetitive. He gets Ronald Acuna to strike out, but he throws a wild pitch. And so Alvarez gets to second. Now you got the tying run at second on a walk and a wild pitch, but then he strikes out Matt Olson to end the inning, and he's pumped up. Okay, that's great. Then you get to the 7th, and Ozzie Albies breaks up the no-hitter. It's a ball that just went over the glove of Nico. It was, wasn't anything powerful or anything like that. But then a line out for the first out, another wild pitch. So Ozzie Albies is at second. Then he walks Marcell Ozuna, and it was a quick hook here for Craig. He's like, okay, I'm done. He puts in Drew Pomerantz, who gets, this is a weird play, and I don't know if they talked about it on the broadcast. It was a force out, and so everyone was kind of moving around, but it looked like what it could have been a double play ball, but they don't have anyone at first covering. So I don't know if Pomerantz was kind of off the mound. Everyone was kind of moving, but they only get the out at second. So now you got runners at first and third. Ha-Sung Kim hits his 3rd homer off Drew Pomerantz, or 3rd home run of the season off Drew Pomerantz to make it a 3-1 game. And Dustin, everyone the air went out of the stadium. You went from watching a no-hitter.
I felt like it. It felt like it on TV at that point. I had Pat and Ron a little bit. I had Marquis a little bit. Interesting stat too, Crawly. 364 days yesterday. It had been 364 days since the last Cubs no-hitter, and that was that combined effort by the Cubs in all of baseball. That combined effort by the Cubs against the Dodgers, I believe. So pretty interesting.
The Cubs combined no-hitter?
Yeah, that Cubs combined
no-hitter. That was Pirates. I was supposed to be at that game, and I couldn't make it last minute.
Yeah, that was 364 days ago. So 365 days ago now, but pretty interesting, right? Pretty interesting. That's great. The last one. Baseball hasn't had one all year.
Well, and once again, that one last night, Nacho Alvarez would drive in another RBI, and then there would be another home run. This one given up by Taylor Rogers, who I just don't want to see unless it's garbage time, which essentially it was. And
right. And that's fine. But I let that happen because. But I got to tell you, man, I hate when the I hate when the position players pitch.
Yeah,
it might be funny, but I think it's so disrespectful to the game.
I will say though, Dustin, that you know, it's Ben has got to get it together between the ears. I think that's the issue. I think he has the stuff.
That's why I think they should have taken him out after he ends up with 3 strikeouts, right? He had the walk. Get him out of there with a good feeling. That was my whole point. Like, and I don't think they're going to need him in the postseason. They're going to need him in the postseason, but I don't think they're going to give him more than 1 inning. So, like, run it run it like a postseason game, Craig. Run your bullpen. You know, if you're playing games last night with that lineup and you wasted a Cade Horton outing, then play with the pen. And if that's how you were going to play with the pen, then you failed. Okay, that was an F for failure. Okay, we can't have that. We might get away with that in Craig Timber, but you're not getting rid of that, and you're not going to get away with that in Craig Tober.
I will tell you, top of the 9th, I was excited to see Porter Hodge come out. He got
he's back.
1, 2, 3 inning.
Right.
And so I feel that if the Cubs are going to go deep in October, I really feel like Porter Hodge has to be what he was before he got injured. And so that is my hope.
Good point, Crawly.
But I will say, like, the point I keep making is that all of a sudden, after the Kyle Tucker home run and that third inning on Tuesday night, after that happened, this offense completely disappeared. Did not have an extra base hit after that Kyle Tucker home run in the 3rd inning, and basically just had the one freebie run given to him on Wednesday because of an error. I just thought it could have been a way better series, and to me, it doesn't look like a team that will go far in October. Now, things can change in the next couple of weeks, but it's got to click. We can't keep, again, Monday night, I said, is this the turning point? Nope. Here I feel the exact same as they did when they came into the series.
You're listening to the Fly the W podcast. We are part of the Blue Wire Network. Don't forget to listen, download, review. Please subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. 5-star review. We'll take that as well. You can email us, Crawly's Clubhouse, gmail.com. Don't forget, you can watch us, as some of you are right now, live on Crawly's Clubhouse YouTube page. All right, Crawly, the standings after taking 2 out of 3 from the Bravos. How about the Braves, right? I mean, they are miserable. They are a miserable team. Still got a decent lineup. They're miserable.
So, we talked about it on the last episode a little bit. They had a lot of injuries, right? And so they were out with Ronald Acuna for a while. For whatever reason, Ozzy Albies had an awful first half. Their big free agent pickup was popped for PEDs. Chris Sale's been injured. There's been all sorts of funky things going on here, but they are a good team. And again, San Francisco, we're going to look at the wild card in a second. They're on a roll. We were all mad about them getting swept. They're one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. And so it's not a matter of who you play. It's a matter of when you play them sometime. And so if you look here, the Brewers, the Cubs,
just a little heads up. Just a little heads up, Crawly. The Brewers are losing in the 7th right now to the Phillies 1-0.
There we go. But when you're taking a look here, the Brewers are 6 games up on the Cubs. The Reds are at 500. They're kind of struggling a little bit lately.
I think you can put them in the rearview mirror, right? The Reds are kind of not a factor.
When you look at this wild card, it's nuts. And the Cardinals are kind of right back in it with the Reds almost, which I didn't see happening. And then the Pirates, you remember the Reds made all those moves at the trade deadline. I thought that that would propel them. That's that argument. Oh, you should have done this. And it shows confidence in the team. Well, the Reds aren't doing much better when they made a lot of moves. Not saying you don't make moves. I'm just saying that sometimes it doesn't work out like you think it is. But this is where it gets interesting, Dustin, is the wild card. Right now, the Cubs are 80 games, so they are really starting to pull away even from the Padres, right? Who are 2-8 in their last 10.
Four-game lead over the Padres. That's great.
2-8 in their last 10, the Padres. But the Giants are 9-1 and on a 4-game winning streak. They took 2 or 3 from the Brewers. They swept the Cubs. They are on a tear all of a sudden. They absolutely pounded the Rockies, but that's no big feat right there. But the Reds are 3-7 in their last 10. The Diamondbacks still aren't away from it. And then now the Cardinals are kind of sort of back in it. But the Cubs are in a good place. If you look at the odds, statistically speaking, the odds for winning the division are not good. 4%. That's just what it is, right? Now, when you talk about clinching a bye, that's again at 4%. But clinching a wild card berth, 95% chance on that. So there's a 99% chance they make the playoffs. So a lot of this stuff, a lot of the moves that Craig's doing right now, he's not trying to run the horses into the ground, trying to win every game. We have to win every game here on out to make it. They made the postseason essentially, barring an calamitous collapse here of some type. They've made it. And so it's just a question now of where they're going to kind of slot in, who they're going to face, and what teams they're going to face. So that's the issue now. And again, you and I were talking earlier, maybe you want to win the division, but it's really just getting in. And the way that the playoffs are set up now, it's different than in the past where you just had a one and done game and you wanted to avoid that because anything could happen in a one and done game. At least now you have a series to try to do the best that you can. And so again, I think when you take out Cade Horton, when you rest Kyle Tucker, if they were fighting for their playoff lives, that might not have happened. Kyle Tucker might have been in the game on Wednesday night. You might have played through it. You might have seen Cade Horton go one more inning. You don't know if you were, but where they are in the postseason percentage wise, they're not going to do that and risk injury to players that they need to go far.
Yeah, very good. All right. So there's been some decent news on the injury front, right? The Cubs have gotten some guys back. We're expanding the rosters, things like that.
Yeah, we got all sorts of goofy things going on here. When the we talked about Owen Casey before the series, he was sent to AAA Iowa. Carlos Santana is on the team. They signed Aaron Savali. They recalled Kevin Alcantara. And so you're allowed one pitcher and one position player in the call-ups. And so that's why you're able to get these guys. So let's say you swap Alcantara for Owen Casey. Carlos Santana is the 27 man on the roster. And then Aaron Savali comes in as well. He's the pitcher. And then Ben Cowles, who I want to say came over in the lighter trade. He was DFA'd, so he is no longer a Cub as of right now. And so that's that. The other big thing is PCA sitting. And I didn't have any shock that he was going to sit the one game, but to see him sit 2 games was interesting. Here's Counsell talking about PCA.
Just looking ahead at the schedule before the week on the road trip, and saw this day, and look, Pete's been out there a whole bunch, and it's because of his defense that it's he's so valuable on defense no matter what's going on at the plate, and so for that reason he's had very few off days. So yeah, we got a chance to get him one here, and good spot for Kevin to get in there.
So not only was it 1 game, but it turns out to be a 2 game have a seat for Mr. PCA. How surprised were you that PCA sat those 2 games? Not the one.
I was surprised. I was surprised 2 nights in a row. Plus, Crawly, part of that is the paying customer, right? He's not hurt, needs a mental break, but sometimes I think you do have to take the paying customer into effect.
If you take a look here, pre-All-Star game, he was slashing 265, 302, 544 with 26 home runs and 71 RBIs. Now, you're talking about a smaller sample size here, but now he's slashing 212, 261, 363. He's got 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. And so he doesn't look right. He is looking lost at the plate. He struck out 41 times compared to 7 walks. Like, PCA's game is never to take walks really that much, unfortunately.
No, but my point is then move him down in the lineup a little bit, right? Do you have to sit him, right? Why does he have to be at bat 4th or 5th? Move him down in the lineup. Move everybody up a bit. Throw him back down in the 7-8 area. Why can't you do that? I mean, am I crazy? Somebody tell me I'm crazy. Tell me that's not how it works. But I don't see why that couldn't help him. Maybe take a little bit of pressure off the guy.
Well, that'll be something we look at when we look at the lineups on Friday, right?
I believe it.
But taking a look right here, Kyle Tucker is day-to-day with that left calf tightness. So we will see he's going to be reevaluated tomorrow on the 5th. Jamison Tyone is scheduled to begin a minor league rehab assignment with Iowa tonight, the 4th, Thursday. And so he had a high-intensity bullpen session on September 1st at Wrigley. Ryan Brazier, left groin strain. He is on a assignment with AAA. So that'll be interesting. But Dustin, the most interesting story about is Michael Soroka. Remember him?
I remember him. A lot of stuff about his velo.
So he was done after he made one start, a couple innings after the trade deadline, and he had a 34 pitch live BP workout. It's basically a 2-inning simulation, and he was again throwing in the mid 90s, not the low 90s. And so team's not sure what they want to do yet, but we will see. But that could be something interesting to watch.
Yes, indeed. Something definitely to keep a little bit of an eye on. Crawly, really special treat here. Ronnie Woo Woo Wickers, the ultimate Cub fan, has been coming to Wrigley since 1947. And you went and visited him and talked about his Cub fandom, some of his favorite memories, and his return to the friendly confines for the first time since the end of the 2024 season. Take a listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got a special treat today. I am here with the ultimate superfan, Ronnie Woo Woo Wickers. Ronnie, how you feeling, buddy?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Now, Ronnie, as I'm here visiting, it's a really exciting moment. We're going to talk about it a little bit, but you are making your triumphant return to Wrigley Field. That's going to be coming up the 7th of September.
Yes.
And when I talk to you, you sound absolutely excited about it.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't been there since the last game of the season last year. I'm looking forward to get back out to Wrigley Field and see my fans, see the grass, and see the boys continue to play ball. And we're in it to win it.
Now, let me ask you, Ronnie, you have been a Cubs fan. You're now a young 84 years old. I remember your 80th birthday party. You remember that? At where was that? It was at a Cubby Bear.
Cubby Bear.
Remember, that was a good one.
That was great.
But, you're young 84, but you grew up not on the north side, on the south side. How did you end up becoming a Cubs fan?
Well, at that time, I had a little teddy bear at home, and the Cubs was a bear. So I put them together and say, I'm a Cubs fan because of the teddy bear.
And so, was it your mom who took you to your first Cubs game?
My grandmother.
Your grandmother. Tell me about that first game. What do you remember from that?
We were getting off the train, and they had it roped off. And then I went into the ballpark and right field, and you could see where they roped off there, where you couldn't go no farther. That one, probably the last crowd that Wrigleyville ever had when that Jackie Robinson appeared at Wrigley Field.
And what did that mean to you personally to see Jackie Robinson at Wrigley Field?
Well, to see Jackie Robinson at Wrigley Field, and the way at that time, that generation, to see an African-American ball player at Wrigley Field, it was some history made there, And I'm blessed that I had a chance to see it.
Now, the wooing, Ronnie Woo Woo, that starts roughly in around 1958, 1959?
Well, I always have been a small, skinny kid, and I make a lot of noise. But then I was in school one day, and somebody said, make all the noise you want. Whoa, 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 whoa. I was so loud, and everybody laughed at me. But I was so rejoiced, And so it's something that stuck with me all these years.
And so take me back to the 1960s. And if you remember 69 and the bleacher bums out there, what were your memories? Because I've seen some pictures of you in the bleachers at that time. You were a young, handsome man. How much fun was it during that run in 1969?
Oh, that was amazing. When Willie Smith hit that home run, and they won the ball game, and they got everybody going, because Cubs fans were coming, hoping, wishing we had a good team. And that 69 Cubs was a darling. It was good for Chicago, and we just wondered for the Cub fans, In that era, back then and there, it was just amazing. People come out just to see the Cubs, And Jack Breakout was calling games back then. It was just amazing that to see that in the 60s, 50s and 60s, to live that down. And that's where the Cubs really took off after that 69 season.
And in the 70s, you had a lot of Cubs players that would leave you tickets, right?
Yeah, back in the 70s, guys would leave me tickets, I say, well, I didn't have the money to get into the ballpark. At that time, you can go up there, put your name on the list and the player's name, and leave you tickets, And I just took one day at a time. And now they said, I want to hear you now. And I would cheer them on. I got so loud, Some accepted it, some didn't accept it, but that was me. I wanted love. I wanted the Cubs to know that I was backing them up. And then the crowd got behind me, and it was so loud. At that time, I don't think some of the fans weren't ready for the way I was handling things at the ballpark because I was so loud. I was so rejoiced, too glad to cheer the Cubs and let the Cubs know that we're the 10th man. Now you see these days, they put signs up, make noise, make noise. Back then, we didn't have to do that. I was a noise maker. And something just took off and had a lot of fun with it. And people look forward to see me at the ball game, take pictures, sign autograph, and I just enjoy life for the love of game and for the love of baseball. One thing about baseball, it brings people together. It brings, no matter what you're going on and with your life, but you come up to the ballpark, special, beautiful Wrigley Field, and have a good time.
Now, I got to say, for me as a kid going to the ballpark in the early 1980s, and when Harry Carey first comes, I remember seeing you in the ballpark. I said, who's that guy cheering so loud? And Harry Carey called you leather lungs. When was the first time you realized that Harry was talking about you?
Because I was so loud. You could hear me from right field to left field, all over the ballpark, because it would carry, And I just got loud. I want the Cubs to know that I was behind them. I would cheer for them. And some of the players get a kick out of me cheering. But I took it to another level. I say woo-woo, because woo-woo means win-win. I want the Cubs to win. Leody Rose and all them guys back then in there, Ernie Banks, Kessler, Fergie, the whole game. That was just a part of me. And a part of me as a Cub fan. Before they had all these mascot signs on that they make noise, just like that, I was a noise maker. And I took it to a higher level.
Now, let me ask you, you had a special relation with Buck O'Neil, and Buck O'Neil was obviously the coach of the Kansas City Monarchs, and when baseball integrated, he became an advisor and then later on became the first African-American coach in baseball. Tell me about your relationship with Buck O'Neil.
Well, I used to go in the front office. He worked at the front office. I used to go there and talk to him all the time. He said, I want to hear you today, Ronnie. He said, well, be proud. I said, sure, we want these Cubs to win. Sure. He said, be proud, be proud. And I was like that. So it was just, he was my mentor for the love of the game. He said, one thing you do, you propose the Cubs and you propose baseball. Because back then, we didn't have the TV like we got in cable like we got now. It's all different now. But back then, my voice was the voice for the fans. I was for the fans, and the players knew I was behind them all the way. And they get a thrill to hear my voice when they up to bat or what's going on, or they make a good play. It make them feel good. So it was just that I just took it to a higher level. And I love baseball. Buck told me, you go out there and you cheer for them Cubs. And you wear your uniform and be proud. Be proud. And I always remember that Buck said, you go through life, it don't cost nothing to be nice. And I always remember Buck telling me that.
When do you remember fans really starting to recognize you, like asking for pictures and all of that stuff? When do you really kind of feel like that took off?
Well, in 1968 and 69, I was loud, and people would come up to me because I would go, Cub, oh, 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 and I wouldn't stop. I would go 15 or 20 minutes, and I would draw the people towards me. I said, I want the Cubs to win. When they win, they knew I was happy. And I showed it with my cheering for them at the ball game. It's just amazing. I didn't plan this to happen like this. I just want the Cubs to win. I just want the Cubs to know I'm behind them then, and I'm still behind them now.
And that's the funny thing. I remember just seeing you everywhere. It was everywhere, like when Theo got announced, when Dusty Baker got let go. You gave him a big hug. And I'm just saying to myself, there's only one fan base. Would a fan be able to give the manager a hug after he got fired? Dusty meant a lot to you, didn't he?
Dusty was a good man to me. He always told me, he always told me, I wish I had fans like you in San Francisco because you really get the crowd going. I said, Dusty, I'm doing it for the love of the game. He said, just keep it up.
And you've been at so many, again, Cubs conventions and other things. And when you go to Cubs conventions, the players recognize you right away. Old, young. Which players kind of, obviously you had the 60s guys growing up, but which players did you like later on that really meant a lot to you, that kind of always were very kind to you?
Well, Bill Buckner was nice to me. Bill Buckner, and Manny Trio and Jerry Morales, and Steve Trout, the 84 team, It's just been a part of my life. When people come to Chicago, they look forward to seeing me. When Pittsburgh Pirates come to town, I greet the bus, and they look forward to Willie Starter, Dave Parker, Madison again, John Carolero. They all look forward to seeing me. When Cincinnati came in town, Rose, Bench, Perez, all them guys came in, Sparky and them. They look forward to see me. When they come to Chicago, they knew I was there. And they knew they was going to hear me. No matter where they were sitting in the dugout or in the stand, they knew I was a part of them. And I support the Cubs. There's so many people. Rose told me one time, how can you cheer so loud? I could hear you all the way to Cincinnati sometime.
Pete Rose. And you got to do something that every Cub fan dreams of. You got to sing the 7th inning stretch. Now, I'm not even going to ask if you were nervous because I don't think you were nervous at all. I thought you were excited. But what was that experience like to be able, and not only that, but the fans really pushing and saying, we want Ronnie to sing the stretch?
Well, when I used to watch the games on TV, and I had to see Jack Breakout singing the 7th inning stretch, and I says, one day I would like to do that. And Jack Breakout told me, keep it up, kid, you be okay. Breakout called me the kid. And so I always remember that. He said, you go through life, you support those Cubs, you'll be fine. And I always remember that, though. This was before Harry Carey, but Breakout at that time, that was a part of the game that the fans played a big part. Because they wouldn't join the crowds that they were drawing there. Up in 15, 20,000, something like that. Upper Deck used to be closed on Sunday. So we had to get people to come to the ballpark. And I was attracted by me coming to the ballpark cheer. People would see me. They would come to see me and take pictures, sign the autograph. And I did it for the love of the game and for the Cubs. I want the Cubs players to know, a generation, that I was always behind them.
Now,
if they went 0 for 4 or 4 for 4, I was always behind the Cubs.
Now, you've seen Wrigley change over the years. Obviously, you talked about, in the early 50s and 60s, but now you've seen the renovations and the park and how beautiful it looks. What does that mean to you, seeing Wrigley change over the years? And and when you look at the park now, does it look as beautiful as it always has?
One thing they do, they got the vines, and they keep the vines up. So that's a big part. But everything changed like anything else. You got to go with the time. They could have left the park just like it was. Now they got these big jumbotrons and all these commercials, advertising, but you still got to get 27 hours. It don't make no difference. You got to get 27 hours. So you just got to just go with the time, but you still got to support your ball club, So I just want people to know that come to Wrigley Field, see the crowd, see the people, the popcorn, the green grass, things like that. And let people know, no matter what's going on in your life, you come out to beautiful Wrigley Field and have a good time.
Well, you're always an optimist, and you've lived through some difficult times, 69, 84, 2003. And all of a sudden in 2016, when the Cubs make their run, and we were all wondering, is this it? Is this the moment? Where were you and what were you doing when the Cubs won the World Series?
I was when the Cubs won the World Series, I had a chance to go to Cleveland, but I wanted to be in the city. I was at the Holiday Club up on Sheridan Road. I watched it, that final game right then and there. And when they won, it's just magic. It's just something that I'll never forget.
That was unbelievable. The parade was phenomenal. And so, Ronnie, again, you've been going strong for so long, but this year you've had some health setbacks, and people obviously were concerned about you. And we put it obviously on social media that they could write you letters and send you gifts. How do you feel as far as just seeing what the fans, the outpouring of love and support for you as you're going through some of these health struggles?
Well, it's been wonderful. The fans, the people send me cards and get well cards, and let you know you go through life. It don't cost nothing to be nice. I try to be nice to all the fans, sign autographs, take pictures, and boost them up. Don't look back, because it's like a home run ball. Yesterday's gone and won't be back. But it's now, and what it is now, I'm shut in now, but I'll get back out there on the 7th and take it from there and continue to go to more ball games.
So 2004, the last game of the season in 2024, last game of the season, that was the last time you were at Wrigley Field. I saw you at Cubs convention, and that's when, you started to have some trouble. But now this is just this whole season. We're almost into September. You haven't been to a game, and you are going to be going on September 7th, Sunday. And when you found out that you were going to be going, that there's going to be some arrangements made to make sure that you're there and that you're okay, what went through your head when they finally told you you're going back to Wrigley Field in 2025?
Well, it just a cloud came over my head. It just said, thank you. I always like coming to Wrigley Field. To go back there on the 7th, it'd be an honor to get back to Wrigley Field and see the Vine, see my fans, and see everybody, the media, and just cheer on the Cubs, and we get to this World Series.
Yeah, and hopefully they do. Is there something in particular that you're going to be looking for when you go to that game? Is there going to be kind of just that feeling that you overcame so much this year and you're finally back where you're happiest?
Well, I feel that me going up back to Wrigley Field for the first time this year, it's amazing. And God is good. He knows how much I care for the Cubs and how much I want them to win, and for the fans to come out and support me and see me. And I do it for the love of the game and for the fans, because without the fans, the ball players wouldn't be nothing. You should never forget the fans. And I try to draw fans to the ballpark. And it's just amazing how me going through what I'm going through now, I'm finally getting back out to Wrigley Field and go see the fans and see some green grass, maybe eat a hot dog and be happy. And thank God that I'm back at Wrigley.
Well, Ronnie, you truly have defined what it means to be a super fan, and there's been legions of people that just you've made them smile, and you talk about just being kind, but that's the thing. It's just making people smile, making people laugh, and it's about having fun, and I think sometimes that gets forgotten is that in this crazy world where we can't control anything, you can just go to a ballpark and it doesn't matter. Just be friendly with everyone, be nice with everybody, cheer on the Cubs and hope that they win. And so, really I can just only speak of myself, but I've gotten tons of contacts from people that have said, please give Ronnie our best. We love him. People that have sent all this great stuff here. You've meant a lot to a lot of Cub fans. And I think, the fact that you being there on September 7th it's going to be very emotional for a lot of people. And I think it's going to be extremely emotional for you as well.
It'll be emotional, but it'll be happy. It'll be joy. I'm back at Wrigley Field where I've been for so many years. And to go back there on the 7th is just a blessing to be back at Wrigley Field and cheer on these Cubs and get this world championship. We got 31 games left, whatever, we got a chance to make it. We're in it to win it.
And Ronnie, when all is said and done and all of us have our time, we just, had the untimely passing of Ryne Sandberg and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, what would you say you want people to remember most about you?
It don't cost nothing to be nice. When you write, you sleep at night. Be kind to everybody, lift them up, and let them know that you care. And you do that and be happy with people, talk to people, cheer them up. You can't worry about yesterday. Yesterday just like a home run ball. You're gone and won't be back. So enjoy your life, and love the people, and lift everybody up, and don't hold no grudges.
Ronnie, again, from the bottom of my heart, from so many Cub fans, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to talk to us.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for all the fans for my letter to come to send me to the nursing home and blessing, things like that, and all the cards. I want to thank everybody that I care and I love them. And we got to get these Cubs back to another championship.
Go Cubs.
Go Cubs. Oh, 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 Cubs win. Whoa, 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 whoa. Me and you and your buddy, Ronnie Woo. Woo Woo mean win-win.
Well
Dustin.
done, Crawly. That was good. Listen, he still got his pipes, man. That was good. I like you said when you talked about going to Wrigley Field. You know, I too always thought, who is this guy? What's this guy's story? What's he all about? And that was really well done. Good for you, Crawly.
I would just say one thing. He is going to be coming on Sunday, and because of some of the medical issues he's faced, he's got to be kind of more isolated. But we are hoping, and we're going to have more information about this, to have fans cheering him as he goes into the ballpark. And for somebody that's given so much joy over the years, that he'd love to just see people. He's so happy getting the cards and everything. And I'll put more information if people want to send things. He loves it. And here's the thing, Dustin, he has his lungs and he has it up here still. We were watching the Brewers game. He knew how many games out everything was. He knew what was going on. So he's still got it. Still Ronnie.
This is the Fly the W podcast, part of the Blue Wire Network. It is episode number 50 of season number 4. Cubs just can't get it rolling all the way, but they have taken the last couple of series. Don't forget to subscribe, listen, review, download, 5-star reviews. Bring them. All right, up next, Crawly, the Cubs and the Nationals. Really not a lot to say. This national team is basically hot garbage.
Well, you take a look. The Cubs played them early on in the season, the first week of June, and the Cubs took 2 out of 3. They weren't able to beat Mackenzie Gore, but Mackenzie Gore is on the shelf right now, Dustin. So since the last time they faced the Nationals, there's a lot of turmoil in D.C. They fired GM Mike Rizzo. They fired Davey Martinez. Obviously, he was a former Cub and a former Cub bench coach when they won the World Series, but they replaced him with another former Cub, his bench coach. I don't know if you remember, Miguel Cairo.
I remember that name. I remember, he looked familiar. Absolutely. Remember Miguel Cairo.
Obviously the Nationals were sellers at the deadline. They traded 6 of their veteran players on the roster, so they don't have a closer anymore. Kyle Finnegan went to the Tigers. Outfielder Alex Call went to the Dodgers. Armad Rosario went to the Yankees. Luis Garcia and former Cub reliever Andrew Chafin went to the Angels. And the Cubs got Michael Soroka that we talked about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're not going to have Mackenzie Gore, and it doesn't look like he'll pitch again this season. Catcher Keibert Ruiz, who always gives the Cubs trouble, he's on the IL with a concussion. He's not expected to return. The Nationals just wrapped up a 3-game sweep, though, of the Marlins, but before that, they had lost 8 in a row to the Phillies, Yankees, and Rays. The Nationals are currently last in the NL East with a record of 56-83, 24 games in back of the Phils, 18.5 out of the wild card spot. They are 27-41 on the road and 29-54 against teams with a winning record.
All right, Crawly, tail of the tape. You hear the bell, tail of the tape. Again, this last 3 weeks, very important. Last 3 weeks.
Last 3 weeks, not season. Last 3 weeks, the Nationals have been hitting better than the Cubs. Nationals hitting 239, 21st in baseball versus the Cubs, 233, 25th in baseball. Slug, the Nationals, the Cubs are actually ahead of the Nationals on that, barely. 381, which is 24th in baseball compared to the Nationals, 375, which is 25th. Runners in scoring position, the Cubs are doing a little bit better. They're 10th at 287. They're just not getting enough runners in scoring position, while the Nationals are 24th at 235. Starting pitching, obviously a big difference. The Cubs starting pitching ERA is 3.64, 7th in baseball, while the Nationals is 6.96, 29th. Relievers, though, be careful. You don't want to get into the Nationals' pen. They're first in the last 3 weeks with a whip of 1, while the Cubs' whip is 13th. Not bad. But again, Dustin, this is a big difference. The defense, the Cubs still in second base.
Yeah.
75 defensive runs saved, while the Nationals are negative 37. That's 27th in all baseball.
All right, Friday afternoon, daytime baseball. Javier Assad, Jake Irvin. What can we tell everybody about Assad?
Quick programming note: do not forget that is an Apple TV game. Apple TV game, and don't forget you can switch it in the corner. And I'm going to put it again. I always try to remind people on my social media at Crawly's Cubs. You can listen to Pat and Ron perfectly synced to perfect 1080 picture. It's one of the most fun experiences. I really enjoy it. I know everyone does.
I am going to try to do that tomorrow. Also, it's Sammy Sosa Day, right?
It is the Cubs Hall of Fame weekend. Sammy Sosa Friday, Derek Lee Saturday, and the Hall of Fame ceremony on Sunday. The Cubs always do a fantastic job.
How many of those games are you going to, Crawly?
I'm going to all 3.
Oh, look at you.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all in the bleachers. So
wow, look out.
Look out. So Javier Assad started 4 games since coming off the IL on August 12th. He's 1-1 with a 4.05 ERA with 10 strikeouts and 20 innings pitched. On August 17th, he gave up 1 run, 4 innings against the Pirates. He had his best start on August 26th against the Angels, 1 run and 6 innings of work. In his last start against the Rockies, of course, he gave up 3 runs in 6 innings. He's 1-0 lifetime against the Nationals in 3 games. 2 of those starts with the .338. Assad needs to watch out for CJ Abrams, who's 4 for 8, but Paul DeYoung is 1 for 7, and Dylan Cruz is 0 for 6 against Javier.
All right. So what about the Nationals? Who are they sending out?
Jake Irvin's a 28-year-old righty who is 8-10 this season in 28 starts with a 5.42 ERA, 102 strikeouts, and 154 in the 3rd innings. Irving took the loss on June 5th against the Cubs, giving up 3 runs in 5 innings. He's had a rough month of August, going 0-5 with an 8.78 ERA. On August 19th against the Mets, he gave up 6 runs in 6 innings. On August 24th, the Phillies tagged him for 3 runs and 2 1/3 innings. And in his last start on August 30th, he gave up 4 runs in 6 innings against the Rays. Jake is 0-3 lifetime against the Cubs in 4 starts with an ERA of 8. Irving better watch out for Michael Busch, who is 4 for 8 with a double and home run against him. PCA 2 for 6 with a homer and 4 RBIs. So maybe that gets him going. And Say is 3 for 10 against Irving, who's mainly features a 4-seamer, curve, and sinker.
Very interesting. All right. So that takes us through game number 1, correct? And now we'll move over to game number 2. Programming note, Crawly. I am doing pre and post with game number 2. We got Matthew Boyd and Brad Lord. So 12:45, you can catch me on the score, and then catch me after the game with the hopefully flying the W post-game show.
I should catch you for breakfast. I should be around there, right?
That'll be pretty cool. I'll be there early. Yeah, we'll text.
Left-handed pitcher Matt Boyd versus right-hander Brad Lord, 120. Boyd 12-7 with a 2.94 ERA and 27 games started, 142 strikeouts and 159 in the 3rd innings. August was a rough month for Matt. He went 1-3 with a 4.54 ERA and 6 starts. On August 19th against the Brewers, he gave up 4 runs in 5 1/3 innings. On August 26th, he gave up 5 runs in 5 1/3 against the Giants. And in his last start, he gave up 4 runs in 6 innings against the Rockies. Boyd hasn't faced the Braves a whole bunch in his career. He has a no decision in 2 games. Only one of them a start with a 3.86 ERA. The last time he faced Atlanta was 2022 when he pitched 2 innings out of the pen. Most of the Braves don't have more than 2 at-bats against Boyd. Acuna's 1 for 4 and Olson's 0 for 4 against Boyd.
And what happens with the Nationals pitcher? Introduce us to him.
Yeah, Brad Lord is a 25-year-old right-handed rookie who is 4-8 with a 4.34 ERA in 43 games. 14 of them starts with 85 strikeouts and 103 in the 3rd innings. Lord's bounced between the bullpen and the rotation. Like Boyd, August was not kind to Lord. He's 2-3 with the 7.06 ERA. On August 20th against the Mets, he gave up 4 runs in 5 1/3. On August 25th, he gave up 7 runs, 6 earned against the Yankees in 4 1/3. And in his last start against the Rays, he gave up 7 runs in 3 innings. Lord has only pitched 1 inning against the Cubs out of the pen, didn't give up any runs. The only Cub that has more than 1 at bat against him is Carlos Santana, who's 1 for 3. Lord throws a 4-seamer, a sinker, slider, and changeup.
All right, very good. So Sunday, full NFL schedule. So it'd be interesting to see how that all shakes out. I know you're going to be there. Huge day for Cub fans. But now the NFL is in play. NFL Crawly kicks off tonight, just in case you're not paying attention. Colin Ray, Andrew Alvarez.
No, so Ray is, they said TBD. It's technically Ray's turn in the rotation, but I wonder if they got something up their sleeve.
All right.
Colin Ray is 10-6 with a 4.30 ERA in 28 games, 24 starts with an ERA of 4.30, 98 strikeouts in 136 innings pitched. On August 20th against the Brewers, he gave up 2 runs in 5 2/3 innings. On August 27th, he struggled in San Fran, gave up 7 runs in 6 innings, 6 earned in 4 2/3 innings. And his last start against the Brewers, he gave up 3 runs on 3 hits and 3 walks with 3 Ks, which led to a high pitch count done after 4. But Ray is 2-0 lifetime against the Nationals in 3 appearances. Only one of those was a start, and that was in 2016. He faced the Nationals in Washington this season, but came in after Craig Counsell went with an opener. I don't know if you remember that. Ray was struggling. They had an opener, and then he pitched 5 1/3 innings of scoreless ball. No one on the Nationals has more than 4 at-bats against Ray, but Josh Bell is 2 for 4 with a double.
And for the Nationals, who is Andrew Alvarez?
Andrew Alvarez is a 26-year-old rookie who made his debut last week on Labor Day. He was added when rosters were expanded to fill Mackenzie Gore's spot in the rotation. He was a 12th round draft pick in 2021. In 2023, he was named the Nats Minor League Player of the Year. His first start was against the Marlins, and he pitched 5 scoreless innings, gave up 1 hit, 2 walks, and struck out 4 to get the win. Alvarez became the first pitcher in Nats team history, which is only 2005, to throw at least 5 scoreless games in his major league debut. None of the Cubs have seen Alvarez, who features a slider, a 4-seamer, and a curveball.
All right, we talked about it a little bit earlier, the hot and the not, and Ian Happ indeed is on the hot list, and PCA is on the not list.
Yep, Happ 11 for 24 with 3 home runs, 8 RBI, slashing 458, 519, 958. Kyle Tucker was on the hot list, 7 for 18, 1 home run, 4 RBI, slashing 389, 500, 667. Those are the hot, but on the not, Carson Kelly, 2 for his last 10. He did have that big home run. Willie Castro, 1 for his last 11, and PCA 1 for 15. Slashing 067, 167, 067. That's why he got that extended day
off. Is
off.
there a national Crawly that we need to worry about when they've got a bat in their hand?
Brady House, 5 for 12 with 1 home run, 4 RBI, slashing 417, 417, 750. Look out. He's a third baseman. Dalen Light is a right fielder. He's slashing 8 for his last 23 with a triple and 3 RBIs, slashing 348, 37, 478. But then, I mean, some of these guys, James Wood, we saw him in the home run derby. He looked like a really good young player. He's hitting 190 in the last week. Paul DeYoung is hitting 133. Their catchers are hitting 125. Josh Bell at first base is hitting 118. You got 4 or 5 guys on this team hitting in the hundreds right now.
All right, it's prediction time. I'll go for it. It's a sweep, Crawly. Okay, stop messing around. I know it doesn't matter as far as the division goes, but programming note, Phillies up 2-0. Brewers batting in the bottom of the 9th with 1 out. Cubs are going to sweep. You owe it to the fans. It's Hall of Fame weekend. Should be a beautiful weekend out at the old Federal Landmark. And go Cubs.
I got it. Cubs taking 2 out of 3. I like them in game 1, game 2.
You're worried about game 3. Yeah. And
Lefty,
listen,
Alvarez,
if they're gonna, maybe they're just gonna throw in the towel, right? Maybe they win the first 2, they throw in the towel, and everybody's having meatloaf. We'll have to wait and see about that. So I got a sweep. Crawly's got 2 out of 3. It's a wrap. Don't forget to listen, download, review, subscribe to the Fly the W podcast. You got any questions? Well, we've got answers. Crawly's going to be out at Wrigley all weekend. He told you that. So make sure you're following him around on social media. I'll be out there Saturday on the Score pre and post. Crawly's Clubhouse at gmail.com is how you reach us via the internets on the email chain. And you can also watch us like some of you are right now by subscribing to Crawly's Clubhouse YouTube channel. Crawly, take it easy in the bleachers at Wrigley this weekend.
It is going to be a fun weekend. Sammy Sosa and Derek Lee. There couldn't be 2 more deserving Cubs. This is going to be a really fun weekend. Ronnie Woo Woo coming on Sunday as well. I'll give you information to cheer him on. But thanks to Ronnie for letting me come by. Thanks for everybody that's kind of tuned in. Let's get the sweep. Go Cubs!
It's all over.